In this video, we'll be telling you the 7 major differences between INFJ and INTP. If you've ever been curious to find out more about your personality, then you've landed at the right place. INFJ and INTP are 2 of the 16 personality types described by the Myer-Briggs Type Indicator. These personality types do a great job at telling you why certain people are different from others. They can also help you understand why you react in a certain way or why your friends keep saying you're too impulsive. But before we get to the whole INFJ versus INTP thing, you need to understand the basic meaning of these acronyms. What does INFJ and INTP even mean? For starters, INFJ stands for introversion, intuition, feeling, and judging, the 4 traits that explain everything that this rare personality type does. INFJs are often known as the advocates or the counselors because they're passionate, idealistic, and sensitive. Even though these people are introverted, they still enjoy listening to other people talk because it helps them understand the complexities of others. They're also great listeners and the best of friends. On the other hand, INTP stands for introversion, intuition, thinking, and perceiving. The first 2 traits are the same, but it's the latter 2 that confuse most people. People with an INTP personality type love spending time by themselves, and they rely on their gut feeling for almost everything in life. But hey, INTPs are also super flexible and spontaneous. These people want to live life to the fullest, which is a little ironic considering they're introverted. But now that you've understood the basic difference between these 2 personality types, let's get to the 7 major differences that can help you differentiate between them. Difference number 1. INTPs are messy and INFJs are super organized. Do you feel like your mind is at peace when your home is uncluttered? Do you have a habit of putting things back where you found them? Or wait, are you one of those who like being surrounded by their own little organized mess? Even though these were very generic examples, being messy or organized is one of the key differences between INTPs and INFJs. You see, INTPs keep things exactly where they can see them. No, that doesn't mean that their house is super organized or that everything goes back to the exact drawer that's reserved for it. Instead, they like staying in their fully functional, organized mess. They know where everything is, and it needs to be in front of their eyes. At a glance, their house may look super messy, but they're just utterly spontaneous, unhinged, and unbothered by it all. On the flip side, INFJs can't be messy. They need to be super organized, and their space should always match their personality. If not, they can't get anything done. INFJs typically thrive in aesthetically pleasing spaces, so you'll always find their homes and workspaces to be perfectly organized and in synchrony. You might see them sorting things based on color, shape, or size, just so the room looks put together. Difference number 2. INTPs are spontaneous, but INFJs like to plan everything out. These 2 personality types are incredibly different when it comes to interacting with other people. It's a known fact that INTPs are much more flexible and go with the flow, but if you want to meet an INFJ, you must give them a 5-day notice. Just kidding, but they do need to plan everything ahead of time. Because of this trait, INTPs are a little more fun to be around. Even though INTPs are still super introverted, they don't let this trait stop them from jumping onto every opportunity that they see. These people love living their life to the fullest and learn how to enjoy in the most mundane situations. They're open to taking other people's suggestions, adapt to new situations easily, and accept change with open arms. But of course, INFJs are the exact opposite. For starters, these individuals simply don't accept change at all. If you ask them to step out of their comfort zone, they'll probably just turn around and walk away. But hey, you still need to invite INFJs to plans, even if you already know they won't be coming. They love feeling included, but they're never going to show up if your plans require them to step out of their comfort zone and experience something new. Maybe you should call that INTP friend instead. Difference number 3. INTPs are impulsive, but INFJs are very cautious. When we're comparing INTPs and INFJs, we can't forget about the way these 2 deal with their future plans. You know how there are some people who have a super detailed 5-year plan ready, and then there are others who don't even know what they'll have for dinner tonight. That's basically the story of INFJs versus INTPs. You probably guessed it, but INTPs are the most impulsive people you'll find. They don't spend too much time worrying about their future. In fact, they don't care about the little details and would rather just leave everything for the last minute and keep their hopes up. INTPs aren't afraid of throwing themselves into whatever life gives them. They prefer figuring things out as they go and don't overanalyze anything that's not in their control. Even though that's a super mature way of dealing with life, INFJs wouldn't agree. Of course, an INFJ can't function properly unless they've properly planned out and scheduled their activities. These people are routine-oriented, which means they'll be far more productive in their private and professional life if they have a fixed schedule. An easier way to understand the difference is to think of it in a more fun way. INFJs are people who'd make a list of all the activities they need to do the next day on the night before, and INTPs will wake up late and spend 15 minutes looking for a missing sock. Difference number 4. INTPs are pragmatic, but INFJs are quixotic. Wait, are those words too complicated? Well, allow us to explain. We've already talked about how these two personality types interact with others, their life plans, and workspace organization. Now we're moving on to the real stuff, their beliefs, values, and the way they understand the world. Just like we said, INTPs are pragmatic. They prefer to reason based on confirmed facts and logical explanations because that makes more sense to their brain. These individuals are analytical and perceptive, which means they'd only believe things they can see with their own eyes. Interestingly, INTPs don't have an issue with changing or altering their values over time. This is what makes other people think INTPs are all over the place, but trust us, they're not. They aren't changing their minds all the time because they're indecisive. Instead, they keep increasing their knowledge of how the world works and adapt to this new information accordingly. And well, you guessed it, INFJs are quixotic. This means they have very strong values and beliefs that can't be based on a lot of reason and logic. Instead, these individuals tend to value past experiences or the experience of older generations. They believe there's wisdom in people's lives, and not everything can be explained with arithmetical logic. Since INFJs are very passionate about their beliefs, they don't seem to try and understand the beliefs of other people, which is exactly why they come off as rude. Difference number 5. INTPs focus on their thoughts, and INFJs focus on feelings. This difference isn't quite the reveal because it's in the names of the actual personality types. But hey, we're still gonna take a minute and break it down for you. INTPs value their thoughts more than anything else, which makes them analytical and perceptive human beings. If they have to make an important decision, they'll spend a few hours gathering information, weighing the pros and cons, and evaluating every possible outcome. Now, let's be honest, there's nothing wrong with being prepared, but it can definitely get annoying sometimes. Look at it like this. INTPs are that friend who makes a list of things to talk about before a big date. On the flip side, INFJs are more focused on their feelings. They follow their heart and trust their feelings to tell them whenever they're making a decision. That doesn't mean they completely ignore logical solutions, but they'd stop and consider how the logical solutions really makes them feel. If you give them a perfect solution to a problem that makes them feel bad, they wouldn't take your advice. Instead, they'd focus on their intuition and feelings, even if it means making a not-so-logical decision. Neither INTPs nor INFJs are perfect in the ways they deal with life. In fact, they simply have different thought processes and solutions for the same problems. Difference number 6. INTPs can come off as cold and reserved, but INFJs are warm and empathetic. Don't get us wrong, we aren't saying INTPs are intentionally cold and reserved. It's just that these individuals are thinkers who are often detached from their emotional side. They don't even mind going through emotional turmoil because they don't process their feelings very well. In most cases, INTPs can't seem to make sense or express their own emotions. Even in intimate relationships, INTPs can't bear to get those 3 magic words out of their mouth. Rumor has it that these people don't say "I love you" to anyone, except their mothers. It would be a little rude to say that INTPs are emotionally unavailable, but they do tend to overlook the importance of emotions when they interact with others. On the other hand, INFJs are people who wear their hearts on their sleeve. They're caring and compassionate, which makes them everyone's favorite friend who's always available and is a great listener. In fact, INFJs are like that go-to friend of yours who you always run to when you need help in an emotional situation. INFJs rely on their intuition, which means they can tell by the look on your face if you're upset. Even if you try to hide your feelings from the world, you won't be able to do it in front of an INFJ. Difference number 7. INTPs look for intellectual connections, but INFJs look for emotional connections. If you made it this far into the video, you're probably starting to notice some common behavioral patterns in these two personality types. Continuing from the last thing we said, INTPs want more intellectual connections in their life, whereas INFJs crave deep and emotional connections. Of course, INTPs want intellectual connections because they spend their life ignoring their feelings. They don't want to waste time on small talk or try to impress people. Instead, they'd prefer having a rewarding debate with anyone who shares a similar interest. Unfortunately, INTPs also love correcting other people's mistakes and won't be afraid to point out any minor discrepancy in another person's argument. They thrive on feeling like they're the smartest person in the room. On the other side, INFJs want to develop emotional connections with everyone they meet. They're very sensitive to other people's opinions and understand their emotions easily. If you sit with an INFJ, you won't have to explain in detail why you're upset. They'll quickly catch on to your feelings and treat you in the most compassionate way ever. INFJs tend to make great friends because they're very thoughtful and caring. Even though these individuals prefer keeping a small social circle, they'd still give their life for you if they call you a friend. While they do need some time to recharge their social battery, INFJs genuinely enjoy meeting new people and seeing whether they develop an emotional connection with them. If you're wondering whether INTPs and INFJs would be a compatible match, then they really wouldn't. If the two have a serious conversation, the INTP would disregard INFJ's values and beliefs, and the INFJ would be annoyed because of how emotionally detached the INTP is. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think you're an INTP or an INFJ? Are you ready to take the Myer-Briggs Type Indicator test to put an end to the confusion? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss another video. Make sure you check out other awesome videos on our channel. Click now to watch.